Hi, my name is Domingo. I'm in Management 16, Mondays and Wednesdays from 9:30 to 10:50 a.m. The prompt for this video is to interview your parent about an ethical dilemma they have faced and discuss the 8-step model. So, for my final project, I interviewed my mother about an ethical dilemma she faced while working as a supervisor at a retail store. An ethical dilemma occurs when a person must choose between two or more options that involve conflicting moral values. In this case, my mother's dilemma involved balancing honesty and responsibility to her company with passion and loyalty towards an employee she knew personally. Today, I will explain the dilemma applying the 8-step model, analyze the situation using 3 simple models, and discuss whether my mother would make the same decision after applying these ethical frameworks. So my mother worked as a supervisor at a retail store. During an inventory interview, she discovered evidence that an employee had been taking small items from the store without paying. The situation became more difficult because the employee was a family friend. The employee was also experiencing financial hardship and was raising children alone. As a supervisor, my mother had a professional obligation to report theft according to company policy. However, she also felt sympathy for the employee and understood the challenges they were facing. The ethical dilemma was whether to strictly follow company policy and report the theft, or give the employee another chance because of their difficult circumstances. The core values in conflict were honesty, fairness, and responsibility versus compassion, loyalty, and empathy. The first step is gathering the facts. The facts were that merchandise was missing. Evidence suggested the employee had taken the items. Company policy required supervisors to report theft, and the employee was experiencing significant financial difficulties. At this stage, my mother focused on understanding what happened rather than immediately making a decision. The second step is identifying the ethical issues. The primary ethical issue was whether compassion for the employee should outweigh the responsibility to enforce company rules. Another ethical concern was fairness. If my mother ignored the theft, would that be fair to other employees who follow the rules? She also had to consider her responsibility as a supervisor and role model within the company. Several stakeholders were affected. The first was the employee who committed the theft. Second was the employee's family who depended on that income. Third was the company, which suffered losses from stolen merchandise. Fourth were the other employees who expected company policies to be applied fairly. Finally, my mother herself was affected because her decision could impact her reputation and job responsibilities. Each possible decision had consequences. If she reported the theft, the employee might lose their job and experience financial hardship. If she ignored the theft, it would encourage future dishonest behavior and create an unfair workplace environment. It could also put my mother's own position at risk if management discovered she knowingly ignored the violation. My mother's obligations included following company policy, protecting company property, maintaining fairness among employees, and acting honestly. She also felt a personal obligation to show compassion towards someone she cared about. This one was the most difficult part of the dilemma because both obligations were important. So the steps have it here, so step 7. And then this step asks what a person with strong character would do. My mother believed integrity required honesty and consistency. She felt that if she ignored the theft Because she personally knew the employee, she would not be acting fairly toward everyone else. Her values pushed her toward taking responsibility even though it was emotionally difficult. Instead of choosing between two extreme options, my mother looked for alternatives. She met privately with the employee, explained the seriousness of the situation, and encouraged them to be honest. She then reported the incident but also advocated for a less severe consequence rather than immediate termination. This allowed her to uphold the company policy while still showing her compassion. After considering all factors, my mother decided to report the theft. However, she also recommended that management considered the employee's circumstances when determining the outcome. She believed this decision best balanced fairness, honesty, and compassion. Next, after interviewing my mom, I analyzed the dilemma using the three simple models. So, using the utility model, it seeks the greatest overall good for the greatest number of people. Under this model, reporting the theft would likely be the preferred decision because it protects the company, promotes fairness, and discourages future misconduct. The rights model focuses on protecting individual rights. The company has a right to protect its property, while employees have a right to fair treatment. Under this model, reporting the theft would still be appropriate because the employee knowingly violated the company's rights. And under the justice model emphasizes fairness and equal treatment. If other people would be disciplined for theft, then fairness requires the employee to face similar consequences. Therefore, the justice model would also support reporting the incident. After discussing the 8-step model, my mother said she would not change her final decision. She still believes reporting the theft was the correct action. However, she said the model would have helped her organize her thinking, consider all stakeholders more carefully, and better explain her reasoning. She also believes the model would have made the process less stressful because it provides a structured framework for decision making. So, in conclusion, the ethical dilemma demonstrated how difficult workplace decisions can be. My mother's experience showed that ethical decisions often involve competing values rather than a right or wrong answer. The 8-step model provided a structured way to analyze the situation, identify stakeholders, evaluate the consequences, and reach a thoughtful decision. The 3 simple models all supported the same outcome, although for different reasons. Overall, my mother concluded that the 8-step model would have been a valuable tool when she originally faced this dilemma because it would have helped her make a well-reasoned and defensible decision. Thank you for listening.